Once upon a time, in the bright and beautiful world of Greek gods and goddesses, there was a young goddess named Persephone. She was the daughter of Zeus, the king of the gods, and Demeter, the loving goddess of harvest and agriculture. Persephone grew up surrounded by nature's beauty. Her mother, Demeter, made sure that the fields were always full of crops and that the earth was green and fertile. Because of Demeter's power over the earth, they never experienced cold or hunger. Everything they touched grew and flourished. As she grew older, Persephone became a beautiful young goddess with a kind heart for all creatures and plants. She loved to wander through the fields, talking to the flowers and playing with nymphs, the spirits of nature, who were her closest friends. Her laughter was like music, and wherever she went, the world seemed brighter. But her beauty and the peaceful life she led in the fields of the flowers did not go unnoticed. Far below the earth, in the dark kingdom of the Underworld, Hades, the god of the Underworld, heard of Persephone and her beauty. One sunny day, while Persephone was enjoying the beauty of a flower-filled meadow far from her home, a shadow fell upon the land. It was Hades, the ruler of the Underworld. He had come from his dark realm below the earth, driven by his love and desire for the beauty of Persephone. In an instant, he took her with him, disappearing into the deep chasm that led back to his kingdom. The meadow, once full of light and laughter, became silent. Back in the world of sunlight and green fields, Demeter searched everywhere for her beloved daughter. She asked all the creatures, the plants and even the mountains, but no one knew where Persephone had gone. The earth began to feel Demeter's grief. Crops stopped growing and forests lost their greenness. Winter came for the first time, and people suffered as the cold and hunger spread across the land. Meanwhile, in the Underworld, Persephone was very sad. The realm of Hades was a dark and lonely place compared to a bright and joyful world above. Yet, as the days passed, Hades tried to make her happy, showing her the treasures of his kingdom and the power he possessed. Despite his efforts and his comfort of his palace, Persephone missed her mother and the life she had known. Eventually, Demeter discovered through the sun god Helios what happened to her daughter. She was so stricken with grief and anger that she demanded the return of Persephone. The world remained barren and lifeless as Demeter refused to let the earth bear fruit until she could see her daughter again. Seeing the suffering of the people and fearing of the destruction of all life, Zeus intervened. He sent Hermes, the messenger god, to the Underworld with a message for Hades, demanding Persephone's return to her mother. But Persephone ate a few seeds from a pomegranate Hades offered her. This act bound her to the Underworld, for ancient laws dictated that anyone who ate food from this realm would have to stay there. Hades knew Persephone was now bound to the Underworld, so he agreed that she would spend a part of the year with him in the Underworld and the rest with her mother on Earth. This cycle of departure and return was what brought the seasons into being. When Persephone was with her mother, Demeter allowed everything to grow, and spring and summer covered the earth. But when Persephone returned to the Underworld, Demeter grieved, and fall and winter took hold. So from then on, the cycle of seasons was set. Persephone became known as the Queen of the Underworld and the embodiment of Earth's fertility. As the year passed, Persephone grew into her roles as both the Queen of the Underworld and the Herald of Spring with grace and wisdom. Her unique position, moving between the realms of the living and the dead, bestowed upon her a deep understanding of the cycles of life and death, making her a figure of reverence and awe. In the Underworld, Persephone's presence brought a gentleness that had never been seen before. Hades, known for his stern demeanor, softened under her influence. The souls wandered to shadowy realms and found solace in her kindness, and for the first time, the Underworld knew a form of peace. Persephone's compassion for these lost souls often manifested of a small act of mercy, such as comforting those who were new to the realm or pleading with Hades for leniency in their judgments. Above ground, when spring arrived with Persephone's return, the earth transformed. Flowers bloomed in her footsteps, and the trees budded and leafed out their branches reaching towards the sun in celebration of the season. Demeter's happiness at being reunited with her daughter was so profound that it radiated across the land, ensuring that crops grew plentiful and that the harvests were bountiful. However, the time always came for Persephone to leave her mother and return to Hades. Though it brought sadness to both, they knew it was part of the delicate balance that kept the natural world in order. Their personal sacrifice was a gift to humanity, reminding all of the importance of appreciating the abundance of the present and acknowledging the constant flux of existence. People throughout the lands honored Persephone and Demeter with festivals that marked the changing of the seasons. In spring they celebrated Persephone's return with feasts, flowers and planting new crops. In autumn, as she prepared to depart, they held ceremonies to thank them for the harvest and to prepare them for the coming cold, acknowledging the cycle of growth and rest. Over time, Persephone came to symbolize not just the seasons and the natural world, but also as a deeper understanding of life itself. Her journey between the realms showed the connection between light and dark, joy and sadness, and life and death. She reminded people that every ending is a precursor to a new beginning and that the renewal follows every period of loss or decay. Of course, as is often the case, there are different versions of the story. Let's begin with the abduction of Persephone. It's widely known that she is abducted by Hades, but that's not always the case. There are versions that Zeus, her father, allowed Hades to marry her daughter without asking Demeter for her approval. The reasons for this aren't entirely clear, but it might suggest a dramatic situation where a father decides which man his daughter should marry for political reasons. There is also a part about the pomegranate seeds. It's understood that she ate the seeds which bound her to the underworld, but it's not clear how many she ate. Some versions say that the number of seeds she ate corresponded to the number of months she must spend in the underworld each year. The story of Persephone can teach us a few things today as well. For example, that change is a constant part of life. Just like Persephone going to the underworld and coming back changes the seasons, our lives are also made up of times of growth, decline, and starting anew. This idea can help us feel better during tough times, reminding us that just like the seasons, periods of growth and renewal follow hard times. We can find strength and keep going even when things seem bad. Despite the traumatic experience of being taken to the underworld, Persephone becomes its queen. This shows us that we can find strength to adapt and thrive in situations we didn't choose. Sometimes accepting a situation doesn't mean we're giving up. It means we're looking for a middle ground for the sake of the greater good. The agreement that lets Persephone live part of the year on Earth and part in the underworld symbolizes finding a balance and accepting the different parts of ourselves of our lives. Thinking about the lessons from Persephone's story can give us deep insights into dealing with life's challenges, teaching us about resilience, change, and a need to find balance amidst life's ups and downs. Thank you for watching. Until next time.